When you hear the name Venice, what do you think of? Odds are, the quintessential vision of a gondola in a canal comes to mind, gliding against ancient architecture and cruising under bridges, directed by a captain wearing a black and white striped shirt. With their first documentation being in the year 1094, these symbolic boats have been used throughout the island's history to transport people and goods throughout the intricate waterways. Built for the canals, their thin, sleek, canoe-like design is perfect for weaving through the thinnest and shallowest of passages. In today's Venice, gondolas are more of a symbolic means of transportation, used only for traditional ceremonies or to give tourists an authentic Venetian experience. Many locals own personal motorized speedboats or use Venetian water taxis. Early versions of these taxis were first introduced to the lagoon in the 1920s. Although similar boats could be seen elsewhere, the Venetian water taxi is characterized by functional and aesthetic variations that make them suitable for the island. If you've ever visited, you've probably also seen the big vaporettos that travel up and down the larger canals. These wide, flat boats, known elsewhere as water buses, are a main mode of public transportation for the locals. Although they can carry over 200 people, these boats were built for the shallow canals, as they mainly float on top of the water. As a city whose roads are rivers and crosswalks are bridges, boats are essential to your culture and livelihood. Gondolas, water taxis, vaporettos, cruise ships? Cruise ships, with the smallest of them still weighing tens of thousands of tons and carrying hundreds of people, tower over the quaint canals of Venice. The first cruise ships made their way to Venice in the 1990s and immediately struck some protests. Venetians first complained about simple inconveniences, like the disruption of TV signals, but their grievances have only grown over the years. Cruise ships' destructive properties have become increasingly apparent due to both their looming presence and major disasters like crashes. With the exponential growth of Venetian tourism since the 1990s, not only have the amount of ships coming in increased, but the size of them as well, which is not favorable for the city's conditions. Although the economy appreciates the 66,000 tourists Venice has on average each day, locals begin to question, is the environmental damage worth it? Many are drawn to this floating city for its unique setting, but the elements that make it so unique also make it more vulnerable to pollution, disruptive noise levels, the alteration of heritage, endangerment of citizenship, and architectural and environmental damage. Since its early establishment, Venice has been a center of global trade, with many boats passing freely through the lagoon. Although this maritime metropolis would seem welcoming of cruise ships, the economic growth they bring is burdened with major consequences to the lagoon due to its shallow and delicate nature. In shallow areas, even at moderate speeds, cruise ships can cause wave changes and depression areas that put smaller vessels in danger. Their passage also damages the bottoms of these canals, majorly disrupting the sediment. The increase in maritime traffic in this area has resulted in extensive erosion, causing measurable changes in depth distributions and making it an extremely unstable ecosystem. Despite this clearly exhibited destruction, traffic and maximum ship size are still predicted to increase. To accommodate this, canals are expected to be dug wider and deeper, leading to unknown contaminants being released into these waterways, from disruption of this mud opening the possibility of further societal and ecological consequences. This introduces a difficult debate of prioritization. Venice has always been a dependable port city, but due to advances in ship technology, welcoming maritime traffic may lead to the destruction of the lagoon ecosystem, an ecosystem that is already strained by environmental changes such as rising water levels. Long term, the shoreline erosion and ecosystem disruption will cause a lasting strain on the foundation and elements that Venice depends on. If there isn't enough evidence of the dangers that these boats pose on the city of Venice, a cruise ship accident in 2019 makes their incompatibility pretty clear. The MSC Opera, carrying more than 2,500 people, crashed into the popular Giudecca Canal leading to St. Mark's Square, putting many in danger and injuring 5 tourists. This accident caused many, including the Italian Environment Minister, to speak out on their long-held beliefs that cruise ships do not belong in this area. It also inspired people to work more actively towards tighter regulations and an ultimate solution. The impact of cruise ships on Venice goes far beyond the physical, with their unintended ecological burden altering both the environment and culture of the lagoon. The size of these large ships is not the only thing mismatched to the delicate canals, as they carry with them foreign species and animals that the ecosystem has never seen. Hitching a ride on cruises and cargo vessels, the American native blue crab has come to rule the Venetian waters. The blue crab, a common and unharmful species in other seas, has caused a dramatic alteration in the ecosystem, economy, and culture of Venice. As of August 2023, over 700,000 pounds of blue crab had been caught in the Veneto region, and the number has only grown since then. In other regions, these crustaceans are consumed as a food source for predators such as sharks or rays. But in the waters of northern Italy, there are no predators to hunt them. Therefore, their population in Venice has only continued to skyrocket. As is expected due to the city's location, fishing has been a prevalent occupation in Venice for hundreds of years. The introduction of blue crabs to the lagoon has disrupted the livelihood of these fishermen, even as they continue to capture and remove them to attempt population control. The crabs are predators for clams, oysters, and other shellfish, species which are usually a sought-after catch for this fishing industry. Now, instead of their nets being full of this profitable seafood, fishermen are filling their nets with the blue crab that have preyed on them. They are then forced to sell these crabs in bulk for cheap. In this way, the blue crab invasion has drastically altered the Venetian fishing community and therefore the Venetian economy. Another effect of this invasion has been the drastic change in Venice's local cuisine. Culinary culture in this city has always been especially influenced by their seafood. At Ristoranti, locals and visitors enjoy cuttlefish, clams, oysters, and more. Chefs and business owners shop at the Rialto Fish Market to purchase freshly caught seafood to serve later that day. As a result of the invasion, restaurants and individuals have had to alter their menus and culinary traditions to use these abundant blue crabs instead of other seafood. So, if these ships are so damaging to both the physical and ecological environment of Venice, why is this still happening? In 2021, legislators took action to ban cruise ships, a step they had been planning to take for years due to the harm being caused to the city and the work of anti-cruise ship activists. This ban was many years in the making, though plans were put on hold during and directly after the COVID-19 pandemic as Venice worked to rebound from the economic effects. At the time of the ban, officials were proud of this achievement and promised to offer up an alternative docking location for the ships, as well as compensation for those who would be affected by the halt. However, almost 3 years after the ban, cruise ships can still be seen towering over Venice. Unfortunately, according to local experts, there is yet to be a suitable alternative for ship docking, causing officials to make exceptions to the ban and not holding their preset regulations. Additionally, cruise ship companies attempt to loophole their way around the law by bringing in ships just below the set weight and size limits. These ships are incredibly harmful, which is why the government and activists originally made an effort to ban them. It is clear to see that cruise ships don't fit into the intricate landscape. So why do tourists still use them to visit Venice? Unfortunately, the city has become victim to hit-and-run tourism, where people only visit for a short period of time, usually less than a day, and do not contribute to the place they are visiting. According to experts, hit-and-run tourists make up 73% of Venice's visitors, yet only contribute to 18% of the tourism economy. It appears as though cruise ship tourists want to pull right up into the canal, check the boxes of seeing San Marco and riding a gondola, and then leave a few hours later. It is imperative that Venice's visitors begin to think about how they are treating the place they are touring, researching how to do it in a sustainable way that will not harmfully affect the environment. In a place that relies on visitors to survive, it is up to the tourist to discern how they can show respect to the unique lagoon city. Otherwise, there may not be a Venice to visit.